Today's episode has been brought to you by the International Business Trade Show in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which takes place on April 10th, 2016. You can find out more at ibtradeshow.com. And Ron Hodgson, the car dealership in St. Albert in Alberta, at ronhodgson.com. Simplycast.com. They are a great resource for your online marketing and communication needs. Andrews Hockey Growth. Andrews is the school that has trained the likes of Sidney Crosby and Brad Richards, and you can find them at andrewshockey.ca. And finally, Fort Edmonton Park, which you can find at fortedmontonpark.ca. And Fort Edmonton Park is regularly recreating historical Edmonton on a daily basis. Hello, everybody. It is Corey Poirier back with the Conversations with Passion radio show, and really excited to have with me Hilde Larsen. Hilde, so excited to bring you onto the show and introduce you to our listeners. And perhaps I think maybe the best starting point would be to get you to tell us a little bit about your background and your backstory for our listeners who may be discovering you for the first time.
Oh, thank you, Corey, and I'm very happy to be here. Well, my background story is, it became a whole book, so it's a pretty long, but the short version would be me being one of very many suffering from chronic illness, going the route of medication and regular medical and losing their job, generally living in pain. At one point, I just couldn't do that anymore. I was so sick and tired, and I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired that I just stopped everything. I was so ill and so down on life that I would rather die than continue living like that. So from that point until now, I have literally lived through hell and am a very inspired woman, inspiring others.
And so, Hilde, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of hit I'm going to call it maybe let's say a boiling point or a breaking point where you weren't finding the solutions that you were hoping to find. And so you kind of decided to let your body do the talking. Is that correct?
Yeah, you might say that. Well, the solution, we're looking at places where the brain has kind of gone mental on us. We think we can fix the body with drugs and ignorance and denial, actually. So because what the body is doing is just talking to us. Whenever we feel pain or out of balance, the body is talking to us, trying to tell us something. So yeah, I was so filled up with medications. You won't believe it. I was taking everything there was for autoimmune, for inflammation. I was on shots, I was on pills, I was on IVs. I was diagnosed with severe rheumatoid arthritis and Lyme's disease, and ulcers and all this and that. And no pill or medication is going to cure you. So, like I said, my story is not different in that sense. My story is different in that I broke free from that. But yeah, I was definitely not getting what I was looking for. My life, I was 38 years old and I felt my life was over. I was promised a life on medications. I was promised a life in degeneration. I was told that I would never walk regularly again, ever. And that is not something that, it's easy to take in. So to go into depression and feel like your whole life is over is very normal, but you don't have to accept that.
Wow. And so, when you say that you took kind of, I'm going to say maybe the power back and found a way to break free, especially like you said, on a lot of medications to be able to break free from that. Can you perhaps share with us a little bit about, what that journey looked like for you?
Sure. Well, it started by me, stepping out of what I was doing that was making me sick. First of all, my lifestyle. I had to step out of it because I was too sick to continue. I was the typical high achiever, mom and wife and business owner and, taking care of everything, everybody. And that stopped because I was just laying there. I was so sick I couldn't even open my mouth. I just laid in bed, stared at the ceiling. I had to be carried to the bathroom. So that, in a sense, stopped by itself. But me trying to continue to find something to hold on to even want to continue living is, I think, where everything started. It was like something inside of me just woke up and said, you know what? This is not natural. I was born healthy. It was like nobody was questioning what was going on. And I've always been questioning everything and looking for answers for everything. And it took me a couple of years on the medications to realize that something is not right here because they're not offering healing.
One of the things that you pose the question on your website is more of the, let's say, about Hilde section in terms of the who am I? And, so you mentioned I was reading your website and mentioned that you're the person that you meet is over the top excited and inspired about what they do. And so our show is called Conversations with Passion. So I'm wondering if you can talk to us about, why it's important, because I'm thinking this is your passion. So why is it important for a person to uncover their passion?
Oh, that's a good question. I lived the first, close to maybe 40 years of my life, and I never touched on my true passion, I don't think. I was driven. And that's the whole clue. I mean, you can be busy and you can work 24/7 and you can be all over the place and you can be in bliss, or you can be so stressed out from just working 8 hours a day because it drains you. I was so driven, from the expectations and what I thought I liked or what I was good at, thinking that, oh, I am good at this. That must be what I should spend my time doing, together with my lifestyle. But, a lot of people have bad lifestyles, and not everybody hits the wall. So I think together with our genes, of course, our eliminative organs, it also has to do with the mindset. I think the mind over matter, that is no joke. And touching upon, upon your passion is going to set you free in the sense that all of a sudden you're home and you are where you're supposed to be, and things starts flowing and the joy carries you.
So then I guess if I move away from passion, but into maybe a similar area, how about if we talk about, let's say, success? Because we get people on our show and we love to ask the definition of success, and we get so many different answers. So I'd love to get your answer as well. So how do you define success?
Oh, yeah. Success for me is being free. I think we're all searching for that freedom. And that could be a lot of different things for a lot of people. But for me, it's the being free, meaning being able to feel sovereign within myself, being able to feel like my own authority, that I am in charge of my own life, that I am a manifester, that I am a co-creator. That type of freedom is what I see as success. So, and then, within that aspect, of course, you could say that once I set a goal, I will feel, when I reach it, that would be a success in itself. But that's not the real success that I'm talking about here. I'm talking more about the deep feeling and inner knowing of kind of being home, being back to where you're supposed to be, being safe and secure in yourself.
How about, because your brand has the inspired right in the name, and obviously I know the idea of inspiring others and being inspired yourself is huge to you. So I'd love to ask you, Hilde, who inspires you or what inspires you?
Well, what inspires me is to see that people take back their power. I mean, that inspires me like crazy. When I see and meet people that have been suffering in any way, and I don't care if it's physical, emotional, mental, suffering is suffering. And you can never compare, if a detrimental illness is worse than a divorce, or a breakup. So when people take back their power and walk towards a better life, I get so inspired. I feel like a child on Christmas Eve. So I think that's what inspires me the most. Other than that, you could say little things like when I'm in the ocean, swimming, just feeling alive, just taking a moment in gratitude and saying thank you. That inspires me also,
So now how about, and just as a forewarning, I ask every person that we bring on the show this question, so I can't, leave you and let you go without asking this question. But, well, actually, you know what? I have another question after this one, but I want to make sure I ask this question for sure. So the question is, if you were able to sit across from an 18-year-old version of yourself, and you could provide her with a piece of life advice or two, maybe one's related to what you've learned about health and one's related to what you've learned about life, but what do you think you might tell her?
It would probably be just like a few words. The first one would be stop it. It wouldn't be like the typical, oh, you're so beautiful and, everything's going to be all right. Or I would just say, stop it. I mean, stop what you're doing and just, be silent. So I would tell her that. And then I would tell her that she didn't have to worry about all the crap and the bullshit. And did you know that my third book is going to be out soon? It's called No More Bullshit.
I love that.
We are so conditioned to follow and follow and follow. And we're so scared to be ourselves, freak out more and don't care as much and don't care what other people think. You're enough. I think that's a good one. I like that statement. You are enough. So me being 18 was an overachiever and a fast speed, do it, know it all type of person. And I see that in a lot of young people today too. So I would probably say, sit down and stop and be silent and listen to yourself and, don't listen to, what everybody else is saying. You are enough.
I was going to say, and then realize that you're enough. I like
you're
that.
Enough.
So then I said I was going to add in a question that I didn't even expect to ask. It's mainly just to kind of bring this full circle because we started talking a lot about health and wellness. And I didn't ask you about the other key things people hear a lot of these days and people saying, you got to try this. And the two, I'm going to say, biggest ones seem to be yoga and meditation. So just curious, based on the journey that you followed, do you practice meditation and yoga? And if so, or if not, either way, what are your thoughts on the value of both of those?
What's beautiful about yoga? You're never going to strain yourself. You're never going to hurt yourself. And you can start at any age, at any health, and at any, level of movement. You can lay on your back and just lift your legs and you're doing yoga. And it's connecting everything. It's connecting your breath. It's connecting you with your body. And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, working out and just like lifting an arm up and down and pushing weights, it can be very disconnecting. You're not together with your body. When you're doing yoga, you're together because it's meditation, I think can be actually the number one for certain type of people. We are so lost in our minds and we have what we call like a monkey brain. We have this chattering going on and on and on. And most of the time we're telling ourselves the same thing over and over and over again. So just practicing stillness. Now meditation can be a lot of things to a lot of people. And there are a lot of practices that teaches different methods, and you can do visualization. You can do it through breathing. Different cultures have different ways to do it. And for me right now, being in a meditative state, I like to call it, is being in the woods. I walk barefoot in the woods every day. And that is my meditation because now I just go into being in the now moment. And that's what I think meditation is all about, just being fully present in the now and without a brain wandering. So yes, definitely so valuable to anyone it doesn't matter if you're on a healing journey or if you just want to have a good life. I think connecting with yourself, because that's all it is, just connecting with yourself. Again, just like the yoga and meditation and yoga, they are so connected, I believe, together. That's why you see them in the same type of environments or a group of people or communities. So go for it.
Awesome. Well, I have to say, I think I can include my listeners in saying this, that we have been inspired by Hilde today. So Hilde, this has been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I've been planning to bring you right back on the show again in the very near future, because I think you've covered so much amazing insight. So I just want to extend a big thank you for being so gracious with all of your wisdom and insight today.
Well, thank you, Corey. It was an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you too. Well, I hope you enjoyed our latest interview, this time with Hilde Larsen, and you can learn more about Hilde at inspiredbyhilde.com, or you may pronounce it for spelling, inspiredbyhilde.com. Enjoy, and we will catch you next time.
Well, that's all, folks. That's another great show with a few great concepts and ideas that might be just what you need to get your ball rolling. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'd like to thank a few people for helping make this show possible. IB Trade Show, go to ibtradeshow.com. Engaged Leadership, go to in-engaged.ca. Permadry, guaranteed solutions for leaky basements, go to permadry.com. Sites and Bites, your site for great service, sitesandbites.ca. Oxford Learning, never stop learning. Go to oxfordlearning.com. Smile Dog, your receptionist. Go to smiledog.ca. Thanks again for tuning in. On behalf of Corey Poirier, I am Marco Kelly, and this has been Conversations with Passion.